If you told me you got Branch in the first round with the 18th pick, okay, yeah. But as the next day came around, I said, okay, I kind of see what you're doing. The Hendon Hooker selection I thought was interesting.
See, that's the pick that bugged me. It bothers me. That's a starter. That's a starter on a team that's going to win a division. And they didn't address up front early in this draft, and I wish they would have.
Yeah.
And Rico.
Yeah, even didn't address up front into the offensive line to the 5th round.
Right. And I just look at like, all right, Hendon Hooker is hurt. He's old. And you're drafting him to sit behind Jared Goff for at least 1 year.
Yeah.
At least. And you only have 4 years, not 5. Right? You draft a guy in the first round, get the 5th-year option. The reality is he's probably sitting for 2 years. So what did you really do here versus signing a veteran backup? But again, that's consistent with what I said leading up to all this. I wouldn't waste a pick on a QB there.
See, I don't think he's going to sit for 2 years. I think it's one of those, this is Goff, hey, your replacement is in the building.
All right, but if Goff plays well, factually, Hendon Hooker never plays.
And that's just it.
Ever.
The Lions have done one thing. You know, you cracked the code with the RAS score.
Get razzed.
But if you really look at it, another consistency under Brad Holmes is he gives players 1 year. Get your crap together or you're gone. Okuda, Swift, last year, guys, I'm going to replace you.
Jared Goff was a borderline Pro Bowler last year.
No, but I'm saying with the contract coming up and what are we going to do with him?
Okay.
Hey, Jared, show me you're our long-term quarterback.
Hedging their bet a little bit.
We're going to move on to a different direction.
All right, so look, I'm not going to harp on the one pick that I just had a big disagreement with. I mean, again, if you want to say, well, what about Gibbs at 12? Yeah, but I thought we covered it Friday. They clearly did not have a lot of guys with first-round grades, so they made a decision to go get 2 of them that they did.
Is it wrong for me that the best Lions draft pick was not actually a draft pick?
Your boy Ibrahim?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought of you. That's your guy. Dude, you've loved him for over 2 years. I will say their running back room is as good as it's ever been post-Barry. When you really look at this, with David Montgomery, with Jahmyr Gibbs, and with Mo Ibrahim, you have 3 backs that all have it's a very diverse running back room. I love it. I do.
Right.
And if you're going to be a running team, good start. We know they needed to add a tight end. They did. Now,
for all those who are missing Jamal, you got that in Ibrahim. He'll just fall forward and get you a touchdown or first down.
Were you surprised they went Laporta instead of Michael Mayer? Right there in the draft?
What? No, because apparently Michael Mayer was one of those guys that apparently somebody knew something and everybody was just passing on him as he was just sitting there. Because they kept saying, well, the Cowboys are going to take him. The Cowboys are going to take him. And when the Cowboys passed on him in the first round, and I guess Laporta, we talk about Ohio State QBs and how people feel about them. Iowa tight ends have the inverse of that, where Iowa tight ends are the new thing in the NFL. You want to have one. Heck, the Lions just had one.
I know,
and traded him away. I like the Laporta pick. If you're going to take a tight end, I like the fact that you got a weapon, and I think that kind of goes, once again, with the line of thinking, you're not going to have Jameson for 6 weeks. So maybe this is a guy that you could throw out there with Gibbs to get you some extra catches and extra yardage while you're waiting on J-Mo.
David, where are you at now? Dust is settled. You know, again, I don't love this draft, and I don't hate it. I'm fine. I would have done it differently, but, I accept what they did in the first round. I don't hate what they did in the second round. And anything beyond that, I think it's very difficult to go out there and have huge opinions. Now, Hendon Hooker's a player we all know. It's a position of the draft that I'm not using that pick on a quarterback. It's just, especially one who's not even medically cleared to play.
But see, I think with Hendon Hooker, and I'm sorry, David, for jumping ahead of you in line, Hendon Hooker, to me, is, if he had not gotten injured, he was a first-round quarterback, I believe. So they're saying, we don't think we'll ever be here again. Let's get our first-round QB. The old Jimmy Costa, let's draft and stash him, and then we'll worry about this later.
Oh, the draft and stash. David, go ahead. Where are you at?
Where I'm at with this is exactly what Brad Holmes said at his end-of-draft presser. It's win now, baby. They did not make the playoff last year. Every draft pick outside of Hendon Hooker in the 3rd and above is all about win now. These guys are going to contribute. I know a lot of people don't know about Broderick Martin, the defensive tackle, the 3rd round, but he will be part of the defensive line rotation. Branch, Laporta. Laporta's a guy that gives you yak yards. He's giving you yards after that catch, and I think that's what they're looking for from their tight end, but they're going to contribute day one, be a part of the offense or the defense. That's what Brad Holmes looked for. That's what he got. I understand everything picture-wise. Now, Hendon Hooker, I get it. Me and Rico were talking. I understand it because of he has given guys, look, it's up now. You got to prove it.
Okay, but David, can I say something about this Hendon Hooker thing? And I'll throw the number out, 248-539-9797. David, I have seen this play out a million times, that if Jared Goff doesn't perform to the level they want and they don't want to pay him, you're going to end up going out and getting someone better than Hendon Hooker via the draft or via trade. It happens every year. So when we see all of these alleged draft and stash QBs, you know what they do? Great example. Houston Texans go out and they draft Davis Mills. This is going to be their developmental guy. He got one shot. What'd they do? They went over the top of him and they took their QB of the future, whatever it may be, right? So what was the value of using a 3rd round pick on Davis Mills a year ago? The answer is Bupkis. I think that's spelled Bupkus. Bupkis.
I think there's a slight difference with this selection because you talk about him being 40 years old. I think that matters.
Let's just backtrack this. He is not 40 years
I know.
old.
He's 26. But I think that matters in their decision where they're saying he's at a different level maturity-wise to where we just got to teach him the offense and we can go.
There's a different level talent-wise here. Those are all fair points. I just feel like if we get to the end of this and they don't want to pay Jared Goff, unless Hendon Hooker shows you an incredible amount every day at that facility and in practice, it is likely going to be wasted. Now, if they mind a gem, and this is their Russell Wilson in the mid-rounds, then this is the type of pick that alters a franchise forever. I'm just telling you that's like a 1 in 1,000 shot.
Right.
So guys, I'm vibing where Rico's at with this, where David's at. They picked to win now. Right. So if that's the case, no, I'm not going to go into the who they could have had instead of Hendon, ... I don't want to do that.
See, I think in their perfect world, Mike, they never have to go to Hendon Hooker. He becomes the backup for the next few years, and they can bring him along slowly. When they have to bring him in games, he's fine, but Jared Goff is going to be the long-term solution. But in the event that Goff just doesn't get it done, then yeah, we got a guy that we thought was going to be a first-round draft pick. Had he not gotten injured, we're going to go ahead and take him right now. And we'll stash him away, kind of like Jameson. We'll let him heal up. We'll bring him in the facilities. We'll get him involved in the offense. And by the end of the year, maybe we toss him in for a few games to see what happens.
So where's everybody at with it? You've had the weekend to think about it. Where are you at with this draft? I know it started out in a way a lot of people were upset about, but I think at the end of it, do you agree they're better? Do you agree that they solidified their spot at the top of this division? I can't say that they didn't. You know, like, I have to be honest. Do I love walking out with the first 3 picks of a draft being running back, linebacker, tight end? No, I don't.
You know what, this was a truly, you got to trust the process.
And that's why I don't hate it.
Because it doesn't make sense. I wouldn't have gone this route. But this is the Brad Holmes, trust me, I got this, I know what I'm doing draft.
And if they win the division, none of us will even speak a word of this draft. If these guys go out and they go win this thing and get this done, who's upset? Realistically. It's a lot of like what we're going to talk about at 4 o'clock. We'll bring up the Michigan State stuff. I mean, I laugh at it. Like, yeah, you can say it sucks you lost a couple of players. You got people acting like Christmas is canceled and Santa was found dead in the middle of a road. Grow up. It's the transfer portal. You got no problem when State takes
Stuff out in the
players.
streets, man.
Yeah, like Santa found nude and dead in the middle of a highway, beaten to death. Like, no, we lost Keon Coleman. I mean, Christ.
The sleigh was up on blocks.
Right. Sleigh, stripped for parts. Autopsy reveals Santa, crack. Like,
reindeer roasted.
Well, we'll talk about it at 4. It's the same perspective, is that it's all going to come down to wins and losses. Whether it's Brad Holmes in this draft or whether it's Mel Tucker, and oh my God, wait for it, they lost their first starters ever in the portal. If they win, you're not going to care, and if they don't, you will. It's the same here. So I'm very in the middle on both of these things. Now, I'm not in the middle on the existence of what the portal's turning into, but that's for 4. This draft, I'm okay with. I'm not doing I don't do grades. I hate the draft grade thing.
You know what? Because here's the thing. The draft grades are for those that say, you know what, find me something more useless than the mock draft. Oh, wait, the grades. Hold my beer. Let's give out grades for players who've never played the field in the NFL.
I think it's a C+. Why? Reasons.
You want to do real grades? You go back 3 years ago.
248.
Those are the grades I'll listen to.
539-9797. Your calls coming up next.